My question is to the Minister for Housing and Homelessness. How is the Albanese government delivering on its commitment to build more homes, and is the Minister aware of any alternative approaches?
Call to the Minister for Housing, the Minister for Homelessness and the Minister for Cities.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Brisbane for her question. She's already a fierce advocate for delivering more homes in her community, and I know she takes great pride in being a part of a government which is tackling the housing crisis from every angle. Now, Speaker, we've got a housing crisis in our country because for 40 years our country hasn't been building enough homes. And that's why most of the $43 billion investment we are making in addressing this problem is going to building, building, building. And we're making really important progress on this. Speaker, in the last term in Parliament, about 500,000 homes were built around the country, and we're on the pathway to 55,000 desperately needed social and affordable homes to come online. Now, as a nation, we've got to do more. No one accepts that more than our government, and that's why in the second term we're going to build on these foundations and go bigger, bolder and faster. Now, Speaker, I'm asked about alternative approaches, and we have seen quite a few. First, we saw the Coalition spend 9 wasteful years in government doing absolutely nothing about this problem. And, Speaker, you'll remember me mentioning from last term that the Coalition were so checked out of housing as an issue that for most of the time they were in government, they didn't even have a housing minister, Speaker. Now, in opposition, they spent the last 3 years in this parliament trying to slow us down or block our positive approaches. Speaker, they delayed housing for people experiencing homelessness, they delayed housing for women and children fleeing family violence, and they delayed new housing coming into the mainstream housing market. Speaker, then they brought to the election something I thought I'd never see, which is a housing policy which would have both built fewer homes in the country, Speaker, and made existing housing more expensive through their dud Super 4 housing policy. Now, I didn't think this could get any worse, Speaker, and indeed I approached this parliament with a sense of hope and optimism. We got the first question in the parliament on housing. I felt fantastic about that. We had an opposition saying that they wanted to be constructive, but, Speaker, yesterday my hopes were absolutely dashed, because the first move this opposition have decided to make on housing is to try to bulldoze the construction of 80,000 desperately needed new rental homes. 80,000 new quality rental homes. Trying to block this proposal is crazy, it is bizarre and is exactly the opposite of what our country needs to be doing. Now, Speaker, it makes me really worried that they have learnt nothing and heard nothing from the very clear message that was sent to all of us on housing at the May election. Now, Speaker, our government is back to work. We're focused on the cost of living, on housing, on Medicare. The Coalition are busy fighting culture wars against non-existent enemies and taking the old Coalition brand of destruction and dysfunction into the new term. Now, Speaker, they have a choice this parliament. Are they going to continue to be housing hypocrites, or are they going to come with us and work on this great national challenge that our government is confronting?